Jeff from 2X Garage. Well, as you can see, we got quite a bit of done on this 521 cubic inch big block Ford. Kind of the next steps are we got to install the harmonic balancer on this, so we're going to do a video on showing you how to do that. These Fords do have a spacer, so we got to keep in mind with that. Also, I noticed when we got this new timing cover, it didn't have the timing tab with it, so we're going to use the old one from the old timing cover to put on here so it has the proper timing marks. So yeah, that's going to be a pretty basic video today on showing you how to install a harmonic balancer on a big block Ford. Not a whole lot to it, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to get at it. So see you in a few. So the first step, what we're doing here, or what Jimmy's doing, sorry, is he's going in, and this actual timing cover hole for the timing tab wasn't threaded, so it's a new one. It's factory Ford style, just aluminum, and he's going to go in, he's just going to run a tapper through it so we can actually put the new timing tab in.
Well, he's gonna hold his mouth right and hope stinking things start straight. Yep, I think we got it. Trouble is, we bottomed it out in the hole, because this is a tapered tap. Now I gotta go get a bottoming tap, now that we got the hole started.
So, like I said before, the new cover didn't come with a timing tab. So, it's a good thing. This is one of those things where if you save all your old parts and pieces, it kind of comes in handy, because we took the old one off, and Jimmy B blasted it. We threw some paint on it, and yeah, so, you know, it's not too shabby. It looks pretty good. So, we're just getting stuff prepped.
Threads. Well, that's it. It bottomed out, and that is a bottoming tap. This little cheesy junk. Now, don't do anything. We're going to hold a rag up there in just a second and blow that out.
All right, now Jimmy's just going to install the pointer.
Maybe.
Maybe. We shall see.
Depends on how much trouble it gives me. Been like everything else in this blue motor, this blue engine. It's an orange engine. It had been done and running and blew up by now.
Orange engine and Mopar or Chevy, right?
That's right. Been a Mopar Chevy.
Yeah.
That's more power Chevy.
Yeah.
Or Power Chevy. I never had any problems racing Chevy all these years. Never had a minute's worth of trouble. I hope that T-bucket cooperates. I'm not going to race it, but well, certainly I am. On the street, maybe.
Yeah, Jimmy's got himself a pretty slick T-bucket, 460 some cubic inch supercharged big block Ford he built.
There we go.
So there's the first step, putting the timing tab on. Nothing to it, really nothing crazy. Just want to make sure you be careful, and like I said, on these aftermarket covers, especially the ones made overseas in a country that its quality control isn't near as good as here in the United States, they did not tap that hole, so we got to go ahead and tap it. So next step is we got to install a spacer. See you in a few. Alright, so the next step is, it's pretty simple. You take the factory spacer, you line up where your key is in here to the actual key on the bottom of the crank.
Let me have that. Make sure.
And you just slide it on there.
Wiping some excess oil off.
So Jimmy's gonna go ahead and do that. Just slide that spacer on, and here you go. Here is the keyway.
No, that's the key. Keyway's the hole.
Oh, sorry.
You're okay.
It's been one of them days. I'm tired.
After you do about 100 of these, you'll understand.
Yeah.
It always best. I take it to the belt sander and put a little starter edge on it, so it helps funnel it right down the hole. Now, let me go get something done.
So as you can see, what Jimmy just did there is he took the actual key, put a little edge on it to get it started in the keyway. There we go.
Now, it can rock one way or the other. Rock it to the front a tad bit. That way it'll go on.
Yep, so Jimmy just provided a nice little tip there. So with this key itself in the keyway, it is actually running down at a little bit of an angle. That's going to allow us, when we go ahead and put the balancer on, to actually get that started a little bit easier.
And use a piece of brass or copper or something to drive it in there so you don't mushroom it steel to steel. If everything goes right, it should slide on there.
Now these are only keyed one way, as you can see with this one. So it's got the keyway here and the key. So it's going to take this and slide her on.
What do you think? Gotta remember who made it.
Yeah. I'm going to tap this on, Jimmy. All right. Now that the actual spacer's on, we did take this off and modify the pointer a little bit. There was a little bit of material from the factory that was actually protruding down, and it was actually hitting the actual balancer itself. So what we did is we went in and just ground that down to make it flush. So once again, dealing with some aftermarket parts and pieces, you can kind of run into that a little bit. So the next step is to actually put your harmonic balancer on. With that, as you can see, it is keyed a certain way to the crank. It does not go on this way. As you see, you have to check on your manufacturer's spec, but with this application, it's going to go on this way. So this one's a little tight. We do have that key in there. Give it a tap. Try to get a good camera angle here. Come on. Kind of wiggle it.
What was you beating on?
Yeah, I'm trying to get this thing on there. It's not one to line up right. A little bit.
This thing ain't rubbing, is it?
No, it's not rubbing.
Did it?
No, it's going. I'm just rolling.
Okay, now hang on.
So what I'm basically fighting is it's rolling a little bit, and hitting that key. So just tap it on. There, keep going. Okay. So now we are actually bottomed out on there.
Finally.
Yes. Make sure our tab is not hitting.
Speedmaster strikes again.
Nope, we got clearance in there. I need to adjust it a little bit.
No, you don't. You're dragging.
All right, I need to adjust that a little bit.
Yep, and I'll show you how to do it. Let me go get a screwdriver. We gotta bend it.
So if you see when we did that, the tab is just barely rubbing on there a little bit. So we just gotta straighten that out a little bit. So we do have that on there. Like I said, the reason that it was fighting a little bit, aftermarket, just aftermarket balancer, aftermarket crank, it's Speedmaster balancer, and it's Eagle crank. Tight fit, we put that key in there. I actually had to take a little bit of material off the key itself to get this to fit. A little oil works, helping getting that in there. So what Jimmy's going to do is he's just going to straighten out that tab a little bit.
We'll get a big hammer and break it.
Yeah. There we go.
Speedmaster crap causes any more trouble and take a sledgehammer to it.
Yep. So he's just putting that little bit of clearance in there and making sure the pointer's
Now,
correct.
see if you can see light underneath of it.
So now, you can actually see it's got the proper spacing. You don't want it too close, you don't want it too far away. So basically the last step of this is actually putting your...
Yeah, it's got plenty of clearance.
Yep.
Now, if Speedmaster stuff is round,
last step on this is actually putting your crank bolt on. This one here is new.
it did bottom out, didn't it?
I believe so. It's not.
Sounded like it. Sorry. Sounded like it. Maybe I can tell. Yeah, it looks like it. Best I can see.
All right, so kind of a little bit of tip here. Jimmy's just going to get as tight as he can. Obviously, wanting to rotate the engine around, but you know, you're not going to be able to get it 100% tight when it's on an engine stand.
Oh, you got it now.
Because what's going to want to happen is it's going to want to rotate the whole engine. So
Okay.
what we're going to do?
Roll in, crank on the engine.
Crank on the engine.
Yep.
So now it's actually tightening the bolt.
Just keep going. Keep going. You're going to have to keep going.
Oh, keep going.
You're going to have to keep going. Keep going. Oh. Ow, let me do it.
Okay.
I don't want to block your camera, but... There's number one. It's up on 0.
All right, so you can see we got the bolt on there. You're not going to be able to get it 100% tight when it's on the engine stand like this. But once it's in the car, you want to make sure you get it in there and get it tightened up.
The piston is up, according to looking in the spark plug hole, but I don't know 100% for sure. I mean, I hope they have their timing pointer on TDC, but you don't know.
Yep.
And you got all this tight, these two?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that is how you put on a harmonic balancer on a big block Ford. That is aftermarket, along with reusing the stock timing tab, modifying it for this. So yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty easy.
Tell them that we threaded that hole, the
Oh,
3/8
yeah.
pipe.
So if you're seeing that this was different from the beginning, we did thread this hole up here because I do have a serpentine kit, and at a later time I'll show the installation on that. Not going with the factory V-style belt, it's actually all serpentine, but this hole here wasn't threaded, and we're not going to use a heater core in this car. So what we did is this is going to be for a water temp sensor, and this one's threaded. That's going to go in the back of the water pump. Reason being, this wasn't threaded, had a cheap little piece of pipe. Jimmy suggested we tap it so there's no chance of leaking it, and we'll put a brass fitting in there, and it'll connect the back of the water pump to the intake manifold.
And then you're going to pull you're talking about pulling your water temperature gauge
Yes.
off of here.
Yep. Because normally on these, this will go over and run to a heater core. Bunch of piping goes back. I'm not doing that. I'm bypassing all that. So yeah. So that is that. That's putting on a harmonic balancer, an aftermarket one with an aftermarket crank, using a factory timing tab, modifying that to all work. And I will see you soon. Have a good one.